Hello and welcome to Longshot Larry's Sports Astrology. Today we're looking at the UEFA Nations League Final between Spain and France, being played 8:45 p.m. in Milan, Italy. So let's jump straight into it. Here's the game chart. The thing that jumps out straight away is Saturn close to the MC. I've done some videos on that, and Saturn is turning stationary direct in about 18 hours. So this is the main influence on this chart. We have two other things going on here. Venus doesn't rule anything else in the chart, but it is close to the descendant and it's trine the part of fortune. And the other thing is that the moon is going to be sextile Mars, quite close, and pretty close to a sextile to the sun at the end of the game. Okay, so looking at the Frawley method, we've got the Lord of the 10th. That's going to actually turn direct and apply to the 10th. That's one for the favourites. The moon is going to sextile the sun in 1 degree. The sun rules the part of fortune here, so that takes precedence over the IC, so it actually represents the favourites, so that's one for the favourites. And the last aspect the moon will make, potentially, if we go an extra time, is it will sextile Jupiter in about 6 degrees, so that will be indicative of extra time. So in this chart, Mercury represents France. They are slight favourites. It might change before the game kicks off. And Jupiter rules the 7th, so that represents Spain. Okay, there are two other things here. Saturn is applying to oppose the part of fortune. It's not going to get there. It's going to turn direct and move away, so that doesn't apply. We also have Mercury, which rules the first house, or the favourites, which is ruling France. It's more than 2 degrees away from the sun, which would mean it would be combust, even though the sun rules the part of fortune, but it's too far away to be an influence. So let's look at the teams. I'm going to look at Spain first. So I've got two charts for Spain for countries. The first one is when Franco was overthrown in 1975. The second one was the amalgamation of Castile and Aragon in 1479, both from Nicholas Campion. Okay, so how do these charts relate to Saturn? So the first chart, 1975, the Sun is trine Saturn. Very, very nice. So that tends to mean that they deal quite well with Saturn. The other thing in this chart here is that the part of fortune is on the descendant, and that's forming a T-square to Uranus. Not exactly sure what that means. Also, you've got Mercury exactly opposite Jupiter. Once again, doesn't really seem to link in with anything there. On the older chart, Saturn is going to be applying to the Aquarian Sun up here, a degree and a half away. That's quite okay. That's quite good. Is it close enough? We will wait and see. The second thing is that the South Node to Sag 33 is applying to Uranus, and Uranus rules the Sun, so that's a negative for the Spanish chart. Natally, Saturn is quite active. It is opposite Mars, not great for sports, but it is trine Venus and Jupiter, which is alleviation, so mixed bag for that one. Okay, let's look at the captain and coach for Spain. We've got Luis Enrique and Sergio, and very excited, we've got time charts for all of these players. Not how sure accurate they are, but anyway. Okay, so the Spanish coach, what's he got going on? Okay, so he's got the moon's going to sextile Mars and the sun, which is forming a yod to his natal sun, which is okay. His sun is conjunct Saturn quite wide, so he deals with Saturn quite well. However, his progressed chart, Saturn is going to be quincunxing. He's in a quincunx position to his progressed sun, applying about 1 degree. Slight negative there. Okay, the captain, Sergio. One thing I really find very challenging for him is Pluto's up here, 24 Capricorn 19, stationed 4 days ago, opposing his Cancerian sun. That is a very, very difficult aspect to win under. Not impossible, but quite challenging. Saturn on the start here was semi-square Neptune, separating 45 minutes or so. Neptune is quincunx his moon. Not sure exact accuracy of this chart, but being a Cancerian, that's not great. And natally his sun is quincunx Saturn. So the captain does definitely have a few challenges there. So there's a summary of what we've got so far. And for Spain, I've got lots of yods and quincunxes, so they will need to make adjustments in their play to win. that Pluto opposite Sun is a very big challenge for the Spanish captain. Alright, let's have a look at France. So looking at France, this is a chart for the Fifth Republic from Campion. So how do they relate to Saturn? Saturn rules the MC, so that's one indication of success. I suppose you could argue a Libran Sun, Saturn is exalted in Libra, bit of a stretch that one. So Saturn is going to be forming a semi-square to Saturn here, applying 1 degree. Saturn natally is quincunx the Moon. That's not too flash. However, Saturn is semi-square Neptune here, and Neptune is exactly trine the Moon. So the Moon in a country's chart represents the public, especially in Cancer, the emotional vibe. Neptune trine the Moon can be, euphoric, I guess. So that looks okay. Now, France being a Libran nation, Venus rules the Libran Sun. This part of fortune is sextile Venus. Venus is sextile Venus. Venus is trine the part of fortune, so that's another pattern which is quite favourable. The other thing is the North Node is very close to Mars here, applying 7 minutes. Mars rules sports in a country's charts as well as war and things like that. So that looks good. So overall, France as a country looks good, especially that Neptune trine Moon. Let's look at the coach and captains. So looking at the coach and captain here, so we've got Didier Deschamps and Hugo Lloris, both time charts. So how does Didier Deschamps relate to Saturn? Well, his Sun and Mercury here in Libra are exactly opposite Saturn. That's not very good at all. So Saturn's a lot of challenges for him. However, his Sun and Mercury are sextile. He is MC part of fortune, which forms a wedge. So that is his alleviation for that Saturn opposite Sun. It's trine his MC, so his career is his outlet for the frustrations from that Saturn. And today, Jupiter is trine his Sun, applying 4 minutes. Very, very positive. That's exactly what you want going into a major tournament, and Jupiter rules his MC. So there's definitely one major success indicator for the French coach. Also, you'll see his Moon down here in Leo is conjunct the part of fortune, so Venus is trine his Moon, so that's an excellent indication for his emotional state. He does have his progressed Moon sextile Mars, and Mars will be on his progressed Mars, so that all looks okay. So looking at the captain Hugo, how does he relate to Saturn and Saturn semi-square Neptune? So he's got his Sun in Capricorn. Saturn rules Capricorn, so that's 1 for him. The Sun is conjunct Neptune, so he will relate quite well to Saturn and Neptune. And you'll see that Neptune is very close to his Mars. And if you remember from the French chart, that Neptune was trine the Moon. So how does he handle that? His Mars is in Pisces natally, and his Sun is conjunct Neptune. It's probably okay. Saturn natally is square Jupiter. A few challenges there. However, he's relating to this Moon, Mars, Sun sextile. So the Moon starts off square his Jupiter, and then it will move through and sesquiquadrate his Moon. So he has his Moon sesquiquadrate Jupiter natally, and the Moon is also sextile his Sun. So that looks quite positive to me from an emotional state. I am a bit concerned about the Sun on his South Node, but that looks quite good. So looking at this in summary, France are the slight favourites. That's Saturn on the MC turning stationary direct. Oh, I've got about 6 hours there. It's very important. And Saturn is semi-square that Neptune. So that aspect comes into play. Venus is also trine the part of fortune, and the Moon is going to be sextile Mars, sextile Sun during the game. The Frawley method, that Saturn on the MC points to the favourite. The Moon will sextile the Sun, which is also the favourite. If it does go into overtime, and the Moon will reach that Jupiter, so the underdog is a chance in overtime. So Spain, they have lots of yods and quincunxes today. That doesn't mean defeat, but it does mean you have to make adjustments to win. However, that Pluto opposite for the Sun for the Spanish captain, I find very concerning for them. That is one of the most challenging aspects. Saturn and Pluto opposing the Sun are probably the two most challenging aspects to win under. If it was going so challenges for Spain. France, well, the country chart, we have a link to the Sun with that Venus part of fortune linking to their Venus. You have Neptune trine the Moon as well, so they are linked to that Saturn-Neptune. That could go either way. The coach has that brilliant Jupiter trine Sun, nearly exact. Jupiter rules his MC, and I forgot to mention his Sun is actually in exact the same position as the North Node for France, so there's sort of a karmic link there. So that is very good. He's linked to that Neptune trine the part of fortune with his Moon on the part of fortune. And the captain is Capricorn Sun, which is helpful with Saturn on the MC. It does have that Neptune conjunct his Mars. I think that's okay. And the Moon is going to be triggering his natal Moon square Neptune, so it looks okay. So overall, I'd have to lean towards France on this one. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe if you want to see more videos on this channel, and we'll see you in the next one.